I didn't think I was actually gonna cry making this video. Hi Freya, my emotional support cat is here. This moment when the Alicia theme comes back here is just, oh my gosh, I did not think I was gonna get this worked up about it. We have got to talk about Our Drafts Collide. I am shocked that more people are not talking about this track. It has to be one of the most powerful tracks in Clair Obscur, both for its emotional impact and the way that themes in this track were used to foreshadow events throughout the entire game. So yeah, let's get into it. This opening, my god. So of course it starts with Verso's theme, and the moment that appears in game, oof, such a powerful moment. But somehow it sounds even sadder on the guitar. I don't know why. It just does. It feels more like a moment, you know, compared to when we hear it on the piano before. If you're thinking that this part sounds kind of unsettling musically, but you're not sure why, there's something really neat happening in the music here, where we have Verso's theme, da 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 dum, ba da da dum, da 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 dum. It's in 6/8. There's 2 big beats per measure, so we're counting 1 2 1 2 1 2. But this other melody that comes in the vocals, which by the way is a direct reference to Until Next Life. The words are from Until Next Life, and the melody is kind of it's also in a different meter. It goes da 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 da. Da, da, da. It's not really in any clear meter. I thought at first that it was a 9/8, so meaning like 3 big beats per bar, but it's really not clear, because you could say it's da 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 da. You could say that it starts in 4, but I feel like that also sounds wrong, because the melody goes, You've traveled miles, like the da 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 leads to the next measure. But if it's in 4, then it doesn't lead to the next measure. And if it does lead to the next measure, then the next measure is only 1 big beat before it resets again. So the meter of this melody is very off kilter. And sometimes the big beats align da 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 da, align with the guitar part da 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 dum, ba da da dum. But other times it doesn't, and it kind of stays in line a little bit until we get towards the end. I'll show you the exact moment where it gets off. Here we are together, sort of. Here we have an extra beat though. But it's time to say goodbye. Sorry, I'm not a conductor, but did you hear what happened? The guitar went da 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 da, but the voice held an extra beat. So it went 1 2 3 and 1 2. Sorry, this is really hard to explain without a visual, but basically what happened is at times the vocal melody is with the guitar part, at times it is not, and at the very end it splits off and they are no longer aligned. And if that is not the best possible representation for what is happening in the scene, I don't know what is. Oh my gosh, chills. Next life. So we all recognize this, right? This is the Act 2 Gommage music, which a lot of people, myself included, were kind of wondering where that was on the soundtrack. Why isn't this track here? And also it appears a couple other times in game. And when I realized when I got to this track and started listening again that it's not the Act 2 Gommage music, it is our drafts collide being used in the Act 2 Gommage. And when you think about it that way, it has a different implication, you know, because actually it's the theme of this battle between Verso and Maelle that is being foreshadowed in Act 2. The colliding between, you know, what Maelle wants and what Verso wants and what every different person in this game wants is already being foreshadowed all the way back there. If you're curious, this theme also appears in Act 3 when you revisit Lumiere, when you first arrive right before Maelle kind of like does her resurrecting or whatever of the other expeditioners. This theme also appears there, which is interesting. And there are other parts of this track that do appear earlier in game in really neat foreshadowing moments, so keep that in mind. Also, I just had to check, but the text here, you'll learn that all is not in vain, all that matters remain, but it's time to say goodbye until next life. This is directly from Until Next Life, so that track is still being referenced in here as well, giving it an extra layer of meaning there.
Notre voyage s'arrête, nos chemins divergent.
Whew, man, that part is so powerful to me. The way that the bass line is descending and then just adds this like, oh, you recognize this is still the music that's used for the Gommage scene as well, but that bass line just so heavy, anchoring this down when it was previously a lot lighter. And now with the vocals adding an extra layer of meaning, the text there is, this is not from Until Next Life, this is our drafts collide in this endless light. Two souls in mind in a desperate fight, our drafts collide. This Endless Light is interesting because there's actually a track on the soundtrack called Endless Light. It only appears in one spot in game, right before the duelist fight, and if you listen to the lyrics, which are in English, it's very spoilery. In this world we both reside, one wants to fight, the other stays beside. On this canvas, though it may not be real, we are battling for the fate we feel. Our drafts collide in this endless light, two souls entwined lead a desperate fight to decide if you should stay or depart. In this painted world, love's light departs. There's a lot more, but it makes me wonder if this song was initially planned for that scene in some way and then they changed their mind later, because it definitely is referencing a lot of the same themes, so I kind of wonder, but just a neat little connection there.
Notre voyage s'arrête, nos chemins divergent. Alors que l'un s'éteint, écoute le chant lointain. Laisse derrière nous ce cœur immortel. Dans ce monde peint, l'amour est artificiel. Dans ces mondes reculés, nos histoires se rejoignent, dérivant vers des toiles incertaines. Dans nos cœurs, un lien éternel brille. Nos dessins se confrontent. Pour nos âmes enlacées, pour nos cœurs déchirés.
So this is such a neat section. In the soundtrack, there is this spoken like poetry over the top, which is not in the game. This is the music that plays when you have to make that agonizing decision. In the soundtrack, we have this version with the spoken word over the top, spoken by the composer Lorien Testard. You know, he wrote all of the lyrics and texts for the music of this game. And so the translation of all this is, our journey comes to a close, our paths branch off. Whilst one goes out, listen to the distant song. Leave behind us this immortal heart. In this painted world, love is artificial. In this remote world, our stories merge. Diverting to uncertain canvases, in our hearts, an eternal link shines. Our purposes confront each other for our embraced souls, for our torn apart hearts. This is very similar thematically to the Endless Light text as well. Super neat choice to have like the spoken word over the top, kind of like that other track that appears in White Sands. Very bold and creative choice, I think. Another thing I just noticed, the violin line here
Reculés,
briefly quotes
nos
Alicia.
histoires se rejoignent, dérivant vers des toiles incertaines. Dans nos cœurs, un lien éternel brille. Nos dessins se confrontent. Pour nos âmes enlacées, pour nos cœurs déchirés.
Here we go. This part is so cool. Lots of just cool effects here. So this is one of the coolest Easter eggs in the entire game. Let's listen again. The track we're listening to is called Our Drafts Collide. This music is from, you may or may not remember, because it only appears one other time in the game at the tutorial battle between Gustave and Maelle. And that track is called Our Drafts Unite. Let me play it for you. It's an instrumental version of this track. And I've seen some people online talking about how they went so hard on the tutorial battle just to never use it again, or just to use it in the end. And I saw in an interview where he talks about this, that one cool thing is that they wrote Our Drafts Collide first, and then they used that music for the tutorial battle later. It was an intentional choice to show it so early and then not again until this moment. And it's just so neat that Our Drafts Collide is a battle between Maelle and her brother, Verso, and Our Drafts Unite is a battle between Maelle and her other brother figure, Gustave. And it's just, it's just such a cool connection. I just can't. It's so good. Also, this kind of soaring string figure that's going on here in Our Drafts Unite and Collides. Da 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 da. You can hear references to that in other points in the game, and in fact, I think one place is in Yellow Forest Number the Hours, but I'm still looking for references. I'm sure there are more because it just sounded so familiar to me, and I couldn't place it for the longest time. And I'm telling you, I definitely don't remember from the tutorial because that just went by my brain so fast. Yeah, I bet it's in other places in the soundtrack, and I'm gonna keep digging to see if I can find more. But let's continue listening here. I didn't think I was actually going to cry making this video, but I'm actually getting real goosebumps here. I've listened to this so many times, and I've watched people play through this sequence of the game so many times at this point. Okay, hi Freya. My emotional support cat is here. But it's just so powerful. The vocals here are so beautiful. I also heard that Alice, the singer, that this was one of her favorite tracks, so making it have an impact was really important for her as well. And it's just this moment when the Alicia theme comes back here. is just so powerful. Because we hear Alicia as the title scream of the title scream. We hear Alicia as the title screen of the game, but we don't know its significance. We hear it over and over and over in every kind of way, in so many different tracks, in so many different ways. But this is the most blatant, version. It's Alicia, the battle theme. It's crazy that we hear it in the tutorial battle, but we think, oh, it's the main theme as a battle theme. Cool. But we hear it now, and it's just unbelievably heartbreaking and powerful, especially since we know this is like the last time we're going to hear it. And, oh my gosh, I did not think I was going to get this worked up about it. All right. Change one more time. Oh gosh, okay. Did not expect I was gonna get this emotional about it. Anyway, I also want to point out another little neat Easter egg. This version of Alicia's theme without the vocals, but just the instrumental version with the string lines also actually appears in Act 2 right after you fight Renoir, right before the manor disappears. Or right before you go talk to Alicia, I forget. It actually appears in that moment, which is kind of a neat connection of foreshadowing. And another really neat part of foreshadowing that I forgot to say before, the opening guitar part appears then as well. It appears after that fight when they show Noko's death. The guitar line from Our Drafts Collide appears. And it's a really neat foreshadowing when you consider that Our Drafts Collide, the text, is referencing Until Next Life, and how they talk about Noko and the Gestrels being able to be reborn, how we do kind of resurrect him through the support, side quest. Also, when we're back at camp, when they're putting Noko into that little urn, I think an instrumental version of Until Next Life does play, and that's kind of the first time we really hear it in game. And so it just adds this kind of extra layer of meaning, I think, when you think about the way these are connected and foreshadowed throughout the game. It's just absolutely brilliant. Back to the Gommage music. And I don't know if this is intentional, but I do want to point out that this is a cello solo, and I'm not saying that anytime a cello appears, it's a reference, but the character that is most identified with the cello, according to the composer himself, is Gustav. Gustav's theme has lots of cello in it, and he said that it represents him. There are a lot of themes that have cello that kind of can be seen as connected to Gustav. For example, Lost Voice, which of course connects with him from the prologue and is used for his burial scene, as well as Gustav's Legacy, which strangely only appears in one place and against some enemies. But Gustav's Legacy actually quotes Lost Voice in it. So that's a really neat connection, just thinking that Gustav is connected with the theme of the Gommage, and that in this point it also features cello, and that maybe it could be seen as representing Maelle's, memories of Gustav and the fact that she wants to be able to bring him back. It's fun to think about this stuff. I don't know if I'm overthinking it, but it is really neat to consider some of these connections. So beautiful. beautiful. I'm losing it again. Okay, I'm losing it again. Did you notice that this time when she sings the Alicia theme, it is a full octave higher than it is usually? Even earlier in this theme, she never sings it that high. She sings around it. In this part of the track, which plays during the battle victory screen after you have defeated the other person, it's the only place in the game where it appears like this. And it's so high and heartbreaking, and the way she sings it too, her voice cracks a little bit. Like, it's just so powerful. Clearly it's still affecting me after how many times I have experienced this. Gut-wrenching. This is Aline's theme. Still Aline's theme. Ugh. I'm dead. I am actually dead. So I admit I couldn't remember exactly how this track ends because it's a little bit different than how it appears in game, and I do want to show you one thing that is neat about how it appears in game. So I'm just gonna go look that up real quick. So this is from the Verso ending. I couldn't find a version that only had the music but also had the scene at the end, so Aline's theme.
Don't do this. Don't leave me again.
It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay, huh? You've got this incredible power to paint. You'll never have to suffer a life you don't want. You're okay.
This song.
You're okay. You're okay.
The fact that this song plays. The song is called Lettre à Maelle, which you may not know is that this was the very first song composed for the game. Lorien Testard said in an interview that this was the first song he composed for the game, and this song gave birth to the themes for Aline, and that song gave birth to Alicia. So it was just kind of a very organic development of how the themes came to be, which makes so much sense because throughout the whole time I'm listening to the soundtrack, I'm just thinking like there is so much overlap between the themes and just the way they are used. And it makes so much sense that this is how they were created, that this song came first because it does have Aline's motifs in the beginning and has that feel, but then it goes into this other thing with the piano and the fact that, you know, the piano represents Verso and he used to play this song for his sister, and their mother's theme is in there too, and this is the song that is playing as she fades away to go back to her family and finally say goodbye to him. And the fact that he's saying, you're okay, which is exactly what real Verso said when he was saving Alicia, like right before he died. It's just such a full circle moment, made even more powerful by the music and the consideration of the music being used in this way. And gosh, it just gets me so bad. This game really got me. This game really got me good, as I'm sure you can tell. But yeah, so much to unpack in all of this music. It's just so incredibly well done and so much detail and love given to the soundtrack. So I'm just enjoying exploring with you all so much. And I'll link up all my other videos if you missed them, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.